Welcome to my guide on how to become a Mythic Raider in just 2 short weeks. You will face many pitfalls and roadblocks on the way to becoming a member of the elite Mythic raiding community. But I will help you not only avoid these pitfalls, but turn these common mistakes to your advantage. Let's start off with what doesn't matter when you're trying to become a Mythic Raider, and that is your gear. In the Pug world, gear is everything, and that's for good reason. It's the best option they have to evaluate you as a player in a reasonably short period of time. They aren't looking for the best candidate amongst usually 20 or more that they receive. They're looking for someone who is capable of completing the content. They're only making a 1 hour commitment. They just want to find someone good enough as quick as possible, not the best. When someone is recruiting for a Mythic guild, they are looking for the best of a long list of applicants that can number into the hundreds for the really good guild. And they are willing to spend 5 minutes, an hour, even more sometimes, as it can save them months of anguish down the line. So they look way deeper into you as a player. They are looking at you for the long term. So that means that your gear isn't fixed. If they deem you worthy amongst a list of much more permanent and impossible to change criteria, they will very easily and be very willing to boost your item level up to good enough. And they can do this so quickly that they don't care about your gear. To them, your gear can be made absolutely perfectly fine within a week. It takes almost no effort for the good guild to gear up a new player if they want to. If they are worth to do it, they will be willing to do it. So if gear doesn't matter, what does? And the big answer to that is your skill. Now, skill matters a lot because everything else you can quickly change. You can quickly fix someone's gear, consumables, that sort of thing. That is so easy to fix. But someone's skill is extremely hard to improve quickly. So that is your primary thing that guilds will be looking at. So how do they judge your skill? Well, it's extremely challenging to do, and it's highly subjective. But almost all guilds will still look at your logs to see how good you are. Now, if you don't know what logs are, then further on in the series we will look at how to make logs, and more importantly, how to make your logs look good. After taking into account your skill, the next thing a guild will look at is your experience. The difference between your skill and your experience is skill is your general game knowledge that regardless of the content you're doing will always be useful, whereas experience is your knowledge of a specific dungeon or encounter, which means that guilds are willing to forgive your lack of experience, especially if they've already finished progress, as it is essentially reset at the start of the next tier. So it is perfectly fine to apply to guilds when you have low experience in Mythic raiding, because it doesn't matter, because everyone is in the same boat at the beginning of the next tier, where it is the most important as you can't really hold them back once they've already cleared the entire raid. So experience, it matters, but it's not that important. Besides your skill and experience, many guilds will have the standard requirements you have to meet: your attendance and not being a doorknob. Mythic raiding is a fixed 20-man side, so most guilds will have a strict attendance requirement for you to meet before you will even be considered. And many recruiters will tell you that a great player that never turns up is completely worthless. As for your attitude, this is usually more than often than not given the benefit of the doubt. However, if you do have any recent guild history, it's highly likely that they'll reach out to them to ask why you left. So be careful, you can easily burn many bridges. The Mythic raiding scene is small enough that people will find out. Due to the fact I'm sure some of you guys will complain in the comments about it, I'll mention essences as well. Yes, due to the pure time gating, you can't get your best essences for weeks, if not months. but you can get essences that are very close within a week. So in the real world it doesn't matter, as you will be held back more by not having perfect play than any small difference in essences ever could. So to sum it up, your gear does not matter at all. Essences slightly do, but as long as you get the low hanging fruit, you will be fine. But what really matters, and what really every recruiter is going to look for in a Mythic guild, is your skill and your attendance, and they are the two most critical things, as everything else can easily be fixed. Up next, what class and spec you should choose.